Special. Oh, that was a good save. That was a good save by the Abaji goalkeeper. Special recognition to the referees. Osato Luka and Jeremiah, and that's a goal by Ladi Sunday. An attempt. Another attempt from the Wari. That's a foul against the Amak. Ball has been passed. Oh, that's it from there, the champion. Ladu. Foul against Amak.
Right, kicking off with the action, and that's how we welcome you to 360 Sports right here on Trust TV. A little handball action there, under 21, trying to find out how we can be able to build from the grassroots and, of course, show these young ones that sports is truly the way. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Welcome to today's show, and right here in the studio this morning, I have Ikenna Okonkwo with me.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim.
It's nice to have you on the show.
I mean, to be here once again.
It's always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It's always a pleasure. Well, starting from the home front, today we're going to be talking about lots of sporting activities, just as we do on 360 Sports all day, every day. We'll start from the home front, touch a little bit of things going on in Europe and the rest of them. A lot of people say, well, the European football season is over. What can we talk about? Well, sports is quite a large pool of sports that we can be able to reach out to and, of course, pick what we can. Well, let's talk a little bit about the handball that we're just looking at right now, the under 12, sorry, handball girls that we just looked at right now. Isn't it good that we're actually seeing some things like this? I mean, like, it's not always about football all the time. You have sports, other sports that actually need attention as well, and going to the grassroots with under 12 sports in handball is actually a very good thing, I believe.
Okay, you know, it's a good one, not just good. It is a perfect way to develop a people in a country like Nigeria. I mean, about 200 million people we are meant to believe. Sometimes, I think it was last week, I was also saying on this program that sport is a veritable tool in trying to curb so many social menace that's happening, not just in one part of the country, not just in one state. I mean, not just in few states. It is the footprint is in almost every state in this country.
Exactly.
And we need to, I mean, it's not something that we can emphasize. It's not something that we can say and so anybody will say we have said enough. I mean, if you can engage about 50 million youths with sports, you have solved over 80% problem of this country called Nigeria. And this country is our own, and this country is a country that we need to put in everything that is needed to make sure that things work in a better way. I mean, look at these young people. If someone that is around 19 years, because this is an under 21 program, so anybody that's playing is supposed to be 20 and below, under 21. So if anybody that is 19 years, 18 years is playing this particular game now, you don't expect the person that after playing for like handball, the standard time is about 1 hour for both halves, 30 minutes. So if the person finishes playing, I mean, the person is exhausted because sports is about the entire being working.
Exactly.
You are thinking, you are calculating, you are using your strength. I mean, you are running, you are doing one. I mean, everything is happening. So by the time you finish for that day, under that 1 hour of competition, of play, your entire day is already summarized because you will need to rest for the next day.
So you don't have time to engage in any vices.
So it goes a long way to say or to show how much we need sports in Nigeria. I mean, it gets me surprised that even up to in this century, that budget of sports is still very minimal. In fact, sometimes they don't even talk much about it. You understand? But sports budget and youth development in this country is supposed to be the highest, beyond even what you give to security up and down here and there. Because by the time you arrest the situation of the youth, you have actually minimized expenses in every other aspect or sector. So it's not just a way to go; it's where to stay and continuously develop.
Well, grassroots sports development is what we advocate all day, every day, depending on the kind of sport that you're talking about. It's not just about football. You have handball, you have volleyball, you have athletics. And talking about athletics, the African Athletics Championship is coming up later this month. And of course, Nigeria has released a list of athletes to headline that, which includes 4 African champions on that list that we actually have. We have the African champion in 100-meter hurdles, we have the one in shot put and discus as well, and of course the long jump. So we have like 54 athletes that are going to represent Nigeria in the African championships. If you look at that particular list, how do you see our chances actually?
Well, for me, I may not be looking at us, trying to, win all the laurels and come back. What stands out for me is the engagement. That some young people are being engaged to go and gain experience over time. This championship happens, I think it's every year, or I think either every year or every 2 years.
Exactly.
So we come back, continue development, continue. One thing about sport is that it is a lifetime investment. So when you start sport like at 6 or at 5, wherever, you could do sports all your life. Because by the time you stop being an athlete, you could be an administrator, you could be a coach. You understand? Exactly. So either ways, you are making money, you're also useful to yourself.
And society.
And society as well. So it's all encompassing. Yeah. So by the time we go for this championship, you get people exposed, and then they come back, they start thinking, maybe I didn't confess. What did I not do that made me not to that made me not to confess, or made me not to win a medal and what So it's a lot of stuff. So by the time they now go for this, later, if you put them together continuously with a program that is progressive, by the next about 3 years time that next Olympics will be due, they will become the next either Brume or our sister that was banned the last time. What's that?
Blessing.
Okabere, actually.
Yes.
So, you could have a lot of blessings, you could have a lot of Brume. Brume, I forgot last year, he won a bronze in the...
Yes, actually. And it's actually part of this list released by the AFN.
She's going there with a lot of experience. Yes. If she could win a bronze in Olympics, nothing stops her from winning even a gold in this particular championship.
All right. Well, the AFN actually says that the bulk of the team, the bulk of this team, or these athletes that actually called up for this championship are from within.
The grassroots. That's what
local athletes actually train here and the rest of it. But the thing is, the reason for this is not really because they had a choice. Most of the foreign-based athletes actually have one engagement or the other coming up in June. That is why the bulk of the athletes going here now were actually drawn out from the ones that we have at home. So I think it's an advantage for us that are trying to build these players, build up their confidence, these athletes, and build up their confidence towards other major tournaments as well.
For me, there shouldn't be even need for us to invite the likes of Amuson, Brume. They all have so much experience. They should be focusing on all those other higher international tournaments. They are elite athletes. Exactly. This particular competition is meant for the grassroots athletes. Those that are trying to, come up. Those that we are trying to see what they could do, brush up and all. They will use this kind of African championship to, the only advantage that the elites will have being there is that they will kind of guide them.
Exactly.
Or, try to share experience with them.
They can gain from their experience.
You understand? Apart from that, there wouldn't be need for the big guys to be in this tournament.
All right, so Nigeria used to be a powerhouse when it comes to athletics, most especially the track events. We used to be absolutely phenomenal at one point. Then we sort of went to sleep. and we didn't have much impact going into that. But now we're seeing is it a sort of resurgence now coming up? Well, we have a few athletes actually doing well in field events as well.
Yeah.
You understand, the long jump is
long
there.
Jump,
we have an African champion in shot put, and of course the discus throw.
Brumer
as well.
is a long jumper. He actually won the medal in the Olympics.
Exactly. So we're actually getting back into the field events as well. Do you think this is a sort of resurgence for Nigerian athletics?
Yes, it is. About a year plus ago, shortly before the Olympics, the current Minister of Youth and Sport, had this program he called Adopt an Athlete Initiative.
Okay.
The challenge we have, with sports in Nigeria is that our developing athletes in a particular sport is dependent on the budget. It was tied to the budget that the federal government would, give or whatever. But this minister saw that if we depend on the budget, we would still be where we were, where we couldn't develop people, we couldn't move forward with things, activities that we need to participate. So he tried to engage corporate organizations, individuals, where to do.
Which is the way to go, actually.
I mean, so what is happening is that the likes of Amosu, Brumen, and even I think Blessing participated or what, a lot of some of these elite guys especially were engaged or were tied with one person or one organization or the other. Okay. So what happens is that certain amount of money is paid into the account. So, but of course they have to also manage it properly. So what happens is they are going for tournaments, they are going for trainings. They are not also having issues with where will social allowance come from, where will this one come from.
Exactly.
You understand? So there's this motivation already. There is this support already that they have. That is why the guy likes of, after so many years, Brume had to win because she had to concentrate, even though there was no time before that Olympics. But she had to give an average Nigerian a little support. If there is 100 can support, give that Nigerian person, either a girl or a boy, some 30 to 40% or even up to 50%. The person would want to do or go extra mile to make something
because
happen.
We have the talent.
We have the talent.
Yeah, we have the talent. It's just developing the talent, nurturing it, and actually keeping it as well. Because we have this problem in Nigeria whereby we don't manage our athletes very well, and we find a situation whereby these athletes are going to represent other countries because of the things they get.
Look at what happens every time we used to hear of marathon events, whether in Lagos, the other one happening in Edo and Ethiopians, Kenyans will come here within the group.
Exactly.
$30,000, $50,000, and whatever. If you exchange $30,000 today in Nigeria, and in Plateau, in Taraba, even in Benue, I mean, most of these northern states, we have lots of people that have so much strength.
Exactly.
That could run the whole of Abuja in the
terrain,
day,
and
still stand, without having much to worry about.
But we're not developing that. We're not nurturing it.
If we developed all of this, there's not how we'll have a tournament or an event. People from outside Nigeria will come and be winning, and we will only even not come even fourth or fifth at the end of the day. So it's a whole lot that this development thing would do for us if we so much care about it. I mean, why wouldn't we do this part?
Well, it is quite interesting to see that we're actually trying to see if we can be able to have a sports development plan that can cater for lots of sporting events so that we can be able to diversify our sporting pool and, of course, make good on some of the promise that we actually have based on the talent that we have. Speaking about talent, it won't be a sports show if we don't talk about our very own Super Eagles. The AFCON Qualifiers are kicking off this month, and we're looking to see what the Eagles are going to do. This is a reboot, and we're trying to see if we can be able to kickstart on a very good note. Well, lots of them are actually looking forward to the African qualifiers. They said they target a good outing. But realistically, how do you see us performing? Well, we are in Group A alongside Sierra Leone, Mauritius, and Guinea-Bissau. So how do you see us navigating that group?
Well, ordinarily, that shouldn't be a group we should worry about. At that phase.
On paper.
On paper.
Yes.
Well, on paper and even practically. Okay. I said ordinarily.
Okay.
On a normal day. But football, both in Africa and everywhere, has evolved. It's no longer it's no longer a particular star or some few stars doing wonders. It's about
the collective,
collective, persons that are involved. We should watch it, and especially now that we have a new manager, and a new, Super Eagles crew and technical crew. We need to do a lot of work because no minions anymore in football. We need to watch it. We need to do everything we need to do, and look at this particular time that we have tried to inject the local guys. No, I mean, I don't mean anything demeaning, but I mean those that are playing in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yes.
Is a way to go. It is something that we should sustain because every time we have 1 or 2 or 3 of them playing in the first 11 at any qualifier, at any tournament, it kind of gives that push because they want to do something that will make them be seen by those outside, and they want to also play outside to get more money and more prominence. So they are putting in everything.
So they have a lot more to play.
A lot more to play for, a lot more to prove. So it's a good thing that they have tried to put them. Currently there are about 8 of them with the current team in the US
right now. Yes.
Yeah. So let it continue. They may not perform so excellent, but with time.
But if history tells us something, is that these situations mostly happen when a new manager comes in, or when there's a tournament, there's a camp, and lots of home-based players are actually invited. But when it comes to the real thing, most of them get dropped. And then the foreign-based players come in, and then we don't perform very well. They come back and they start complaining that it was too hot, or the stadium was not good enough, or the pitch was not good enough, or one thing or the other. So we just hope that this will be a different case. Because
in Africa, we always have same or similar issue. We don't have so much of good pitches in Nigeria. So if we are playing in Guinea-Bissau, in Cameroon, in any of these African countries, whether Central or West Africa, it's only probably in South Africa, some part, not even all.
All, yeah. And
then North Africa that you can get good pitches that you could say they are standard at that level. But if you are in West Africa, if you are in Central Africa, you be sure that you need to, you face the challenges that has to do with pitches.
Those kind of facilities.
And the only crop of players that will face them without complaining because they are used to it.
Exactly.
Are those that
even
play.
Worse. The local leagues,
It's just normal for the people that are in charge to think that let's carry these people along as much as we could, even if it means getting them to camp earlier before others.
Exactly.
Or even without the others being in camp, get them to camp, let there be 1 or 2 friendly or whatever they will play with 1 or 2 countries.
So that they can blend in
and then shape up.
Well, still talking about football, we do hope the Super Eagles give us a very good outing and we qualify for the AFCON coming up next year. Well, still talking football, as we mentioned earlier, the European football season now is actually on break. All the other leagues have actually rounded up. So now what we're talking about is mostly transfers and transfer rumors mostly. And we're hearing this from Manchester City. Yeah, they are looking to strengthen their fullback position, and they're looking at Marco Correa now of Brighton. Do you think he could be a very good addition to Manchester City?
Yeah, Manchester City, I see them as a complete team. However, when the occasion calls for them to, prove it at that top level, they seem to be, trying to get their feet. It's all about probably how the manager or those that are in charge of their technical, plans, try to put themselves together. It's a good thing they are going for a player who already knows Premier League.
The Premier League, yeah.
For me, the Premier League is no longer their issue. I mean, a problem for them. They have been winning it back to back.
Exactly.
And
so they need to focus more on Europe now.
Europe is their greatest challenge. Every time they get to maybe semi-final, they always crash.
They fall by the wayside. Well, but I think the signing of Holland is actually a statement to that. I mean, like they're saying that, okay, we're coming for Europe this time around.
Yeah, it's good. It's good, but one player cannot just make a difference, as it were. Look at last thing they signed the exacting Grealish from, was it Aston Villa?
Jack Grealish, yeah, exactly.
So one player cannot just make that difference.
So I think that's why they're trying to strengthen, trying to bring in Kukurea, and they're actually looking at Leicester City's England defender Ben Nelson as well, trying to see if they can shore up those full-back positions, because that's where I think they identify that they have a problem.
Yeah, they have a challenge, serious one. So they need to do that. Then as their game come closer, they probably need more psychological stuff to do.
Okay.
Because at that top level, if you don't manage some psychology, I mean, what is Real Madrid doing that is different?
That's different from everybody.
You understand?
Exactly.
How will they score just one goal against Liverpool and they held onto it?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they became champions. So it's all about, managing your game per time and then shouldn't just be a Pep Guardiola thing.
Exactly.
And don't forget that probably one or two persons want to sabotage him if he tries to prove so much. But he needs to get everybody along to get what he couldn't get all the while.
All right. Well, still talking transfers, and we're still staying with football. I mean, there's another player that's actually in the news right now because he had a very good season, even though Everton didn't have the best of seasons last season. It was Richarlison. Richarlison actually had a very good season on a personal level, and the rumours have started flying around that Arsenal and Tottenham are actually looking at him, and he's starting to consider his options now.
Even Chelsea too. I heard yesterday Chelsea also entered it.
Exactly. So do you think this is the right time for Richarlison to move?
He needs to move. I mean, I didn't even know he would play in Everton last season. He has been there, and he has, everybody has seen what he could do. He's a player for the top team. I don't know why he's still with Everton. It shouldn't be an option he would want to start thinking too much. So if he wastes any of the teams that will allow him to play more regular, I know probably one of his thinking should be a team that he will go and play more regular football, which is what matters to every player.
Regular top-tier football, actually, when being in Europe and
so it shouldn't be that the team that will not make you a second choice or whatever. So it's good for him to move. It's right. It has been right for him to move, and I believe that this is most appropriate also.
But looking at the teams that we're talking about are actually interested in Manchester United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. If you look at their current squads right now, are these squads that he can actually walk into?
Yeah, he can actually walk into any team and do very well. Especially if the team could play to the pattern of the way he plays. Because one of the most things that happen to most of the strikers is that some teams they join, don't play to their
pattern,
the way that they do. Maybe some striker, for example, want to be fed. Some want to collect the ball themselves.
From deep,
that kind of thing. So if he's, I wouldn't be the one to choose for him. I mean, if he should choose whether Chelsea or Tottenham just signed Perisic.
Perisic, yes. Perisic,
so I don't know the chances he will have. If you have a Perisic in the team,
you have a Kulusevski,
you have a Son in there, you have a Kane. I don't know what he's still going to be doing there. But a team like maybe Chelsea, I don't know.
Well, you have Kai Havertz, you have Timo Werner.
But Lukaku seems to be almost on
his way out.
Yeah, so if he enters there, he may try to see what he could do with Kai Havertz. I mean, if he could be more prolific, he would take over from Kai Havertz and Kai Havertz will remain his number 2 person. And why not? But if he's Arsenal, well, of course, you could also try to battle it out there.
Okay. So, well, it's the right time to move for Richarlison so that he can go and express himself in a team that actually can give him exactly what he wants. Well, another team that has been in the news and is still in the news concerning transfers after being recently crowned European champions is Real Madrid. And they have been looking at a particular player for a very long time. We've been hearing rumors that they're looking for this French midfielder, Tchouaméni, who's actually worth like £68 million. And they've been looking at him for a very long time. Throughout this season, there have been rumours here and there, but now it's starting to pick up. Do you think he's the right kind of player that Real Madrid actually need right now? Because a lot of people think that Real Madrid need a reboot. Lots of players need to move on. The Marcelos, the Cruzes, the Modric's, they need to find new players, a crop of players that can actually take over from these guys. Do you think Tchouaméni is actually the right person to do that?
Yeah. He's still a younger person compared to the people you mentioned. I mean, even compared to Benzema as well. I mean, most of the players, or some of the players that are holding forth for Real Madrid today are over 30. I mean, if a player is up to 30, he will hardly get a long-term contract, maybe 1 or 2 years contract, renewable possibly. So he needs to I mean, Madrid need to, get hold of him, and of course, begin to make him blend into their pattern of play and all of that, so that whatever they have achieved, whatever they think, I mean, winning Champions League for the 14th time.
Exactly, it's no mean feat.
No other club had come close to that.
Exactly.
So they need to, achieving a feat is easier compared to maintaining it. So they need to get players, younger players. I mean, that was also what caught up with them,
Barcelona at one point.
Up to today, they are still battling.
All right, well, that's the price of success, I think. It's not actually getting to the top of the mountain, but staying there is one of the most important things. Well, that's how it's been right here on 360 Sports on Trust TV. Ike Okonkwo, it's very nice having you on the show. It's been a pleasure, always.
Thank you so much.
All right, and well, stay with Trust TV as we keep giving you the very best when it comes to sports on Sports 360 Sports on Trust TV. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks you very much for staying with us.